All right, in tonight's Spotlight, country star Zack Bryan speaking out about the controversy over his new song, apparently taking aim at the Trump administration's ICE raids. Among the critics, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She says she is boycotting Bryan's music, and her department even released a troll video of him. And now the Grammy winner and Navy veteran is responding by telling fans that he's been misconstrued, that he served this country and loves this country. He also wrote on social media, quote, "When you hear the rest of the song, you will understand the full context. And ICE is going to come bust down your door." Just one of the lines coming under fire here. I want to bring this back to our panel. And Heidi, first, get you to kick things off for us. I mean, what do you make of this back and forth between Bryan and the DHS secretary?
I think it's always so interesting when the right talks about cancel culture and how horrible that is. And then someone says something they disagree with, and the first response is, "Oh, let's cancel them. Let's make their life miserable." And, you know, I think he is expressing a sentiment that so many people in this country feel as they see the videos of people being taken out of their homes, as they see the videos of people being separated. I think maybe the better response for the secretary would have been, let's talk about why it is that we're doing what we're doing, as opposed to, how dare you possibly criticize me? I mean, this idea that anyone who is critical of this administration is going to get canceled or going to get sued or basically indicted, it's just a very, very dangerous trend. I don't listen to this man's music, but he served his country. He put on that uniform, and a lot of people who are criticizing him didn't. And so he sees something he thinks is wrong. He talks about it. That's certainly his right.
Well, and Elizabeth, I mean, is this another example of how the Trump administration isn't shy about going after perceived critics?
I mean, I think going after perceived critics was what Joe Biden's administration was doing to anyone that was literally running against him for president. I don't think this is the same thing. I think this is someone letting the entire country know that maybe this was an inappropriate thing to do, considering the amount of violence being shown towards our law enforcement officers every single day, and considering we just had that shooting at that field office in Dallas, I believe, where we actually lost 2 lives. I don't know if this was a smart decision, considering the tensions in our country right now, considering lives are actually being lost because of the divide in this country and the tension that's being pushed by a lot of people. At the same time, as Heidi said, he served this country. First and foremost, I respect anyone who served their country, and I respect anyone in America who wants to put their view out there. At the same time, I think he's a musician who wanted to go viral. He did this to go viral. Props to him, but I very wholeheartedly disagree.
Well, Mike, does this strike you as a publicity stunt? I mean, a lot of folks would say, hey, free speech.
I don't think it's a publicity stunt, so I'm not sure how to answer that one. But I think that we have to step back and kind of just realize that art has always been the moderator of a particular American democracy. This goes back to the idea of Billie Holiday with her protest song of Strange Fruit. This goes back to the hippie movement, Woodstock, peace, love, and happiness. This goes back when you think about the era of punk rock, which was going back to anti-capitalism. Art and artistic expression has always been this moderator of our democracy. Someone who served within the military, as Zack did, he has fought for Americans' right to have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and particularly artistic expression. And so he has the right to be able to talk about that. When he said in his comments, he said today in response on his Instagram, he said, "I am both embarrassed and scared that this has been the reaction that has held." Artists have always had the ability to do that. And so for me, that is a concern, is that when we have people of artistry who are criticized at this high level, that should throw caution to the wind about what exactly does it mean, freedom of speech. We have gospel music and Christian music that promotes Christian values. Other people may be agnostic or not be a believer, but they still have that right to perform that music, particularly in this country.
Well, and Katie, Mike brings up an interesting point about artists being able to express thoughts. Is that what's happening here?
You can certainly express your thought, especially as a country music artist, but it's probably not smart in your career to offend the people who primarily buy your music, because those are largely Republican voters who support the work that ICE is doing. But I want to go back to what Senator Heitkamp said and use her honorific in this, because what I think is offensive is you should support the work that law enforcement are doing that are duly charged by the laws set forth on the books as laws of our country, that she herself, if she wanted to overturn those laws while she was a member of the Senate, could have done so. But let us remind ourselves that these are sworn law enforcement officers doing the job that Congress has charged them to do, and that the country elected President Trump to continue to execute on the mission that he promised Americans he would do, which, if you look at his campaign platform, said very clearly he's going to deport every illegal alien who's currently present in our country, and that's what he's doing. So I don't know why we're surprised by that work, but I would say that as a musician who's speaking out or speaking in his voice, whatever you want to call it, it's probably not smart as a financial decision to offend the people who are buying your music.
Well, Heidi,
I have to push back on that. I just want to say that I just want to push back on that a little bit. Just the fact that Zack Bryan himself has said that he's not a country music artist. That is number one. He doesn't want to be viewed as a country music artist. He doesn't want to be pigeonholed. Two, Zack Bryan's political leanings generally leans more libertarian. Four, I think that's a big assumption to make that every country music listener is a Republican. We don't have data or conclusive evidence when it comes to that.
There is data, and I said largely, but I would also say that his music shows
fans in the University of Michigan football stadium. So economically, financially, he still is very viable.
His music shows up in Spotify under country.
And I just want to clarify something. I ran a law enforcement agency when I was North Dakota's Attorney General. I have tremendous respect and admiration for many, many people who serve our country in the blue. And this is not about criticizing ICE. This is about criticizing this administration's policies on how this law enforcement effort is being carried out. And just as you're talking about whether songs like this jeopardize the livelihood of ICE agents, the tactics that are being used and demanded to be used are also jeopardizing these law enforcement agencies. And so, I mean, this is a complicated issue.
All right, Mike, Heidi, Elizabeth, Katie, I know we could go on, but we're going to have to leave it right there.